I just want to recognize on behalf of myself and City Council that our hearts do go out to the City of Brooks and also Fort McMurray. As we can all see, Merrick's going to talk about a little later as well, that our river is pleasantly within its banks, and hopefully will stay that way, but we'll have some more information on that. And I just want to, once again, I want to thank the citizens of Medicine Hat, the residents of Medicine Hat, for continuing their due diligence. I know this is tough. I know it seems to be lasting forever, but as you can see from our numbers, that we are relatively low on a per capita basis, if not one of the lowest municipalities on a per capita basis. So thank you. Proud to be the mayor of Medicine Hat during these difficult times. I see you out on the pass. Many residents on the pass, and you're still to this day practicing the distancing and when you're getting out, so thank you. And we also know about Brooks, and Merrick's going to talk a little bit more about that. So all we do as a City Council is ask you to please continue to follow the guidelines put in place by Alberta Health. I'm going to repeat that, by Alberta Health. This is a health emergency, not a municipal emergency. This is a worldwide emergency, not a municipal emergency. And so we're asking the residents to respect that if you don't agree with what's going on, that this is a provincial emergency and that it is not led by the city. However, the city is, as I've said many, many times, in a supportive role in trying to make sure that people follow the rules set out by the province and the federal government. And that if you do have some complaints, if it's a business, that's an Alberta Health related thing. If it's your neighbors, it's Medicine Hat Police, it's for individuals, but please, please, please try not to call the police. Make that your last resort. Recognize that your neighbors may have a reason for doing something that they're doing. So I'll leave it at that, and I'll invite Merrick up. He has a few topics. Thank you.
So as Mayor Clugston has said, we've been doing this on a weekly basis, and it's been 1 week since our last press conferences. And I'd like to thank everybody for making it through another week. As weather warms up, as we can see right now, is we all want to get out. This is not the time to relax our measures. In fact, this is a time there where we actually need to be extra vigilant and with our own actions. I wanted to provide another example, as I did last week, as to some respectful behavior that I saw. So I was at the grocery store this weekend, and I saw this responsible behavior occurring as to what was spoken about before. I want to thank those individuals who practice patience while running their errands. So one example is moving to the side to allow other shopping carts to move by. I mean, this is the type of responsible behavior and the type of actions that are actually going to prevent the spread of COVID-19. And as Mayor Clugston had said, I wanted to talk a little bit about the City of Brooks and what they're going through. I don't want to specifically talk about what the City of Brooks is doing, but I wanted to talk about some questions and concerns that I have personally been receiving regarding why we're actually allowing residents to leave the city to be able to either work in areas where there is an outbreak or leave the city in general. And I can confirm that we will not, nor should we be, restricting residents from leaving the city. We're all responsible for actions within the COVID-19 environment. And I want to basically thank everybody, as I had stated, we must start looking at our own actions to prevent the spread rather than others. So things like physical distancing, hand washing, staying at home when you're sick will prevent the spread. Restricting somebody from leaving the city will not prevent the spread. Recognizing, of course, that those individuals that are leaving the city must also be responsible and practice those physical distancing guidelines, hand washing guidelines, staying at home when you're sick guidelines, as laid out by Alberta Health Services. And I want to reiterate that we're all responsible for preventing the spread of COVID-19. Along this same theme, I wanted to talk about garage sales. We've been receiving a number of questions around this, and quite a few of us, myself included, I mean, we're in that time of year where we're decluttering our homes, and it's the garage sale season is actually starting up. So having a garage sale or attending garage sales are not responsible decisions, and residents should not have or attend garage sales. Considering the guidelines issued by Alberta Health Services, consider asking yourself some questions. So can you maintain 2 meters of physical distancing when you're at a garage sale? Can you actually provide hand washing facilities at a garage sale? Can you sanitize every item that is touched at a garage sale? I can confidently say, or safely say, that that is probably not practical in this situation. Therefore, attending or having a garage sale are not responsible decisions and can be considered irresponsible decisions. I also wanted to take this opportunity to discuss some activities the public will be seeing in the coming months. The first and foremost is construction activity. So as we move into the construction season, you will be seeing more activity out there. So construction, as per the provincial government, is considered an essential service. Not only is it considered essential as per the province, but our residents should also consider this being essential. So our construction activity ensures that our community has well-maintained infrastructure for including water, wastewater, electric distribution, and safe roads for us to drive on. We have implemented processes to ensure that our workers and our contractors will be abiding by the guidelines issued by Alberta Health Services. But I wanted to state that there may be times, and you may see times, in which that 2 meters of physical distancing is not actually possible. So when there is a time when you may see a worker or 2 workers that are within 2 meters of each other, that is because it is critical to their own safety. So some examples that I can provide to you is working in a confined space, working on a power line, and other activities where if we only had one person, there is an immediate and traumatic effect that could happen to that one worker. So therefore, there are times when we must and we will be working within 2 meters of each other. We will limit that as much as possible and put in preventative measures such as personal protective equipment should that occur. But I wanted to reiterate that there are times where we must work within 2 meters of each other just for the sole safety of our own workers and the immediate safety of our workers. The second type of activity that I wanted to talk about, and some things that you're going to see out in the public, is, and also to finalize this press conference, is to talk about some of our 2020 flood preparation measures. Recognizing that our flood response without COVID-19 is enacted in a fairly short period of time. So when I talk about flood preparedness and flood response, I'm talking about the erection of muscle walls or temporary measures, barricades, sandbags, all of these different measures. So given the fact that we are in a COVID environment and we need more time to be able to do these items, you will start to see some measures, some preemptive measures that we're going to be taking as a city. So within the coming weeks, and in the coming weeks I should say, is you're going to see us starting to fill sandbags. You're going to see us start deploying temporary measures. You are going to see us starting to actually assemble these temporary measures in various locations throughout the city. Should we identify that a flood threat is real, so whether it be through Alberta Environment or Parks or through our own intelligence on that matter, we will move to finalize some of those actions, such as finalizing the assembly of our temporary measures, erecting or constructing our actual flood walls, and deploying sandbags to those locations. I want to reiterate something on this one though, is the flood threat right now, although it is a little bit higher than we've seen in previous years, is we're not doing this because we are going to have a flood. We are doing this because it is going to take us longer to actually assemble these measures, so we're going to start early. We're doing this out of an abundance of caution. We're doing this to protect our workers, we're doing this to protect the community, and the flood is, we are not having a flood. So I want to reiterate that part, is we're doing this out of an abundance of caution. So please be assured that, as I've stated before, is we can manage this. We will manage this, and we will all get through this together. Yeah. So the question, Colin, is are we just going to be deploying the temporary measures to the areas, or are we going to actually be assembling them? So we are going to be assembling them in some areas. So as per our plan, which we're currently working through right now, it'll be dependent on specific areas. We will not be putting over the wrapping around it or deploying the sandbags for that matter, but we will be having them on hand. But yes, we will be assembling some of the actual temporary measures. So the question was, are we sending people up to Fort McMurray? So the request has not been put forth, or we will consider it if that request does come forward. Recognizing that we have our own event here and our own municipality is of the utmost importance. So the question was, what is my opinion on people that are having, protesting and the fact that this is a hoax and wanting to get back to business? We take our reliance and our information from the medical professionals, which would be Alberta Health Service and Alberta Health for that matter. And even if you start looking at it federally and internationally with World Health Organizations, is we're taking our advice from the true medical professionals. And so that is my guidance. That is how I am making my decisions, is based on those matters.
Merrick brought it up, but I just want to get your thoughts on, I guess, the city's stance on not wanting to restrict travel, I guess.
So, yeah, Merrick, I think, touched on this. I think he said it's not a municipal responsibility. And I'm not trying to shirk or, step away from my responsibilities, but if I declare a state of local emergency, it's a state of local emergency for the municipality. It does not affect, as soon as you leave the boundaries of Medicine Hat, I have no powers, and the City Council has no power. So if Alberta Health deems that there is a risk to the City of Medicine Hat or other hot zones where there could be an outbreak, and they decide to restrict travel, it is up to Alberta Health. But the municipality, and I think, Merrick was very clear, will not be restricting travel.